So yeah, like I said, some weeks will be harder, some weeks will be easier. Just, just trust the process, trust our curriculum. We've been through this many times. Marat has huge experience in this. So yeah, I know that some weeks are like more overwhelming, but I promise you that at the end of the day, like it's all worth it. It's all worth the struggle. It's all worth the pain that you guys are, mental pain probably that you're experiencing. But yeah, I hope this week was a little easier, since like first week is usually very shocking because there's so much material and there's like this whole new schedule that you need to get used to. So I hope that this week was um, maybe a little bit less stressful, right? Since you already know what to expect from classes. Or not. How do you... Are you
For me, it
sad?
was stressful.
Are
It
you
was
guys?
stressful because
Go ahead.
it was because like I felt like I'm not really confident with CSS and HTML. And then during the class, I don't remember, we started to talk that we already need to learn Bootstrap. And then they started to talk about the projects. And then there's a graduation project. And I'm just doing there my homeworks only. So yeah, but now I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that it's a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. But take it like one step at a time. So make sure that you are doing at least like don't maybe are you guys starting on graduation projects already? No, right?
Yeah, I started like because I did already like all the homeworks. I've been confused which one I have to do, so I made them know.
Right.
Yeah, so when I start like project one.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's good that you're pushing yourself to do the graduation projects as well. I guess the regular classes are not very challenging for you, right?
For me this week, the new thing only was the terminal. The terminal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, do you guys use the terminal like a gate while you're working?
To be honest, no.
No.
So what we do, I use the terminal only to get my project running.
Mhm.
But other than that, no, not really. I think like people who are working with like backend and with database with servers, they use terminal more, I would say. But for us, no, not really. We don't do that much. And I know that some of my colleagues, for example, they use terminal for GitHub. So like to push code to
Yep.
changes. But most of us in the company, we just use the UI for GitHub. So we actually don't use VS Code. We use WebStorm,
Mm.
which is, for me, like WebStorm is a bit more convenient because you don't need like in VS Code, you need to use like different plugins for different stuff. WebStorm has everything built in. So I mean, at the moment, you guys don't need to worry about it. You don't need to use WebStorm or like switch to different IDE. Just for your information, um, our company wants everyone to use WebStorm, so we stick to it. And also, it has really nice UI for like all the GitHub related stuff. So we just use that, and it's very convenient. Like I think almost no one, at least in front-end team, are using terminal that much. So yeah, was it a bit overwhelming? I know you guys had like a terminal and Git at the same class, right?
Yep. But
Yeah.
other month, yeah,
I mean, it's good to know like this, like very simple terminal commands, like how to, I don't know, open project, how to navigate from folder to folder, create new folder, create new file, these kind of things. It's good to know this stuff. Just, for like, I would say basic terminal literacy, but don't worry too much about it. Like, as long as you know some basic stuff, you should be fine, I think.
okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so I have two things that I wanted to discuss with you today, and we have quite intense plan for today. So we wanted to talk about transitions and animations. Also, I have a project. So I watched some of your classes, and I feel like you guys need to practice a bit more on just things like mobile first design. So I have a mobile first project. Have you guys built anything with like mobile first approach? No, right? Because as far as I was able to check, it's not something that you did. So I think mobile first approach is nothing special, but I feel like it's something that you guys need to see, so that when you're talking about it in an interview, you know what you're talking about, right? So this is something that I also wanted to do. So first, let's talk about transitions and animations. So that will be like first good half of the class. And for the second half, we will do mobile first design. And I've already prepared an HTML file for that project, so we don't have to spend too much time on HTML. So we will just focus on CSS. So that's my plan for today. Shall we start? Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so I'm using the same class project that we were using the last time, and I will just send it as a zip file at the end of the class. I hope that's okay. So today I wanted to talk about transitions. So first, let's talk about transitions, and then we will just move on to animations, because you can do like more interesting stuff there. We will start with like a very, very basic example. Sorry, guys. So let's work with a couple of divs. So one div will be a parent div, inside which we're gonna have another child div, right? And what I want to do is to this parent div, I want to give a width and a height. Let's say 300 pixels in height. Let's do 300 pixels, so it will be just a square. And let's give it a background color. So I recently discovered this really nice dark magenta color that I try to use everywhere now. Okay, so simple question, and let's say this question goes to Sultan. Sultan, can you tell me, how do I center this div on this inside the body, basically?
In my case, last time I did like flex, display flex and justify content center.
To
I
which
do
element?
like which element? I just parent, of course. Oh, no. I think body. It was, yeah, body.
So because the parent element is the element that we want to center, right?
Yeah.
We think that flex properties will go to its parent, which is the body.
Yeah.
Body. So if I set display flex, right? So now this whole body is, this whole body is now a flex box, right? So now this parent is a flex element. So what flex item? So if I say justify content center, it centers it horizontally, right? Because right now the flex direction is row, so it will center it horizontally. How do I center it vertically?
Vertical. Align items, maybe we can try.
Okay, align items, center. So now if I go back to my browser, what do you expect to see?
In the middle, of course.
right?
But I don't know. But it's not, yeah.
So we expected it to be centered vertically, right? Is it centered vertically right now? That question goes to Dovut.
Oh, yep, it's because I think the height of the body, like, yeah. So it's not they made it vertically and horizontally, but it's not the body not taking the whole like a screen, the height.
Exactly. Good. Very nice. So, Gulnur, can you please tell me how
Mhm.
do I even debug this? So now I expect this to be centered vertically, right? Dovut is saying that our body element is not
Mhm.
as high as our screen. So how do I even like approach this issue? So you see right now I'm hovering over the body,
Mhm.
right? What's the height
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the body right now?
1173. I mean, the height of the box. Maybe we can
Chip?
make the height
300.
to 100%.
Okay, cool. So yeah, very nice. So the issue right now is that our container, indeed, it is centered vertically, right? But because there's no vertical space around it, so you can't really see it, right? So if we want the body to be as high as basically the user can see, so we can set the height to 100 VH. So VH, I believe, stands for vertical height, right? Vertical height. So it means that the body will be as high as the user can see, right? So right now, it is perfectly centered vertically and horizontally. And if I like move it around, like if the body, let's say the browser window was occupying like half of my screen, it would still be centered vertically, right? Because Flexbox makes it dynamic. So we know that the height is 100 VH. So like for it's as high as the user can see. So and the Flexbox will make sure that this is always centered both horizontally and vertically. Okay. Nice. All
I
right.
have questions. 100, it's mean 100 pixel or percent?
This one.
Yeah.
So 100 VH. VH means vertical height. It is also like a unit of measurement. So basically 100 VH, it means that it will be as high as the viewer can see. So
Full
basically,
screen, yeah?
yeah, full screen. Right
Okay.
now, if you hover over the body, you see that it's like as high as possible, right? So that's VH, a vertical height. So it's vertical height is a relative unit of measurement. It's not, so pixel is an absolute unit of measurement. No matter what your screen size will be, the size of the pixel is always the same, right? But if you use vertical height or like percent, right? It is relative. It is relative to either vertical height, it's relative to the size of your like browser window, basically. If you use percentage, it will be either relative to browser window or a parent, right? Your parent element. So yeah, that's the difference. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Make sure that you guys stop me anytime if you have any kind of questions, okay? So now for the child element, let's give it a background color of something like, do we have dark orchid? Okay, that's perfect. And now I have a question for Janar. Janar, if I go back to my UI right now, where is my child div?
It would be in the top corner of top left corner of parent.
Mm-hmm.
But because you do not have a height for it, it's not showing.
Exactly. Cool. So let's give it a height of, I don't know, 100 pixels and width of also 100 pixels. Well, we want to make sure that it's smaller than the parent div, so we can see the transitions and animations and stuff. Okay, nice. Now, let's talk about, so last time we talked a little bit about transitions, right? So whenever we, so let's say, for example, when I hover over the parent, right? I want a child component, right? This little div inside the parent, I want it to change the color from orchid to, by the way, this is like too dark. Is there an orchid color? Okay. How about pink? Oh, this is ugly pink. What kind of pink is that? Okay, let's stick with orchid. So when I hover over the parent element, I want my child element, right, to change the background color from orchid to dark magenta. So we want it to kind of visually disappear, right? And this is an important moment here, guys. So this is sort of like the event when I want something to happen, right? So when I hover over the parent, I want something to happen to which element? To the child element, right? So we want background color to change from pink to orchid, basically, to magenta. So in order to make this transition smoother, what we can do is we can add transition property to the child. Okay, and here we need to specify which effect we want this transition to work on. So in this case, the effect is background color change. So background color. background color. And we want this to transition for, I don't know, two seconds, something like that, right? So now when I hover over, it's taking 2 seconds to kind of change the color, right? So this is what, so whenever we are working with like specific effects, it's good to put a layer of transition on it to just make sure that the transition is like smooth and nice. Also, the common mistake is when we are working with this effect, we may be like, we want to put the transition here because that's where the effect happens, right? So this is like a very common thing that people want to do. However, do you feel the difference?
No.
It's not completely changing the color, right?
It is
So-
changing.
Oh, okay.
However, so okay, let me put it back. And I want you guys to like catch the difference. Okay, so here is the transition, right? When it's on the child. Now, if I put it to the hover itself, do you see? No? So what's happening is it's transitioning on hover, right, for 2 seconds. If I move the mouse outside of the box, it's immediately going back to its initial color.
Mhm.
So the transform is only working for like while it's being hovered. If I go back, like go outside of the box, it's immediately returning to its original color, which
Mhm.
is in some cases would be fine, but we want it to be smooth when it's transitioning in and out of the color. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Like that. Do you feel the difference now?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Soft closing drawers.
Yeah. And for, let's see, transition is often used together with transform effect. Are you guys familiar with any transform properties?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which one, for example?
Rotate one.
Rotate, right?
Yeah, not really. People usually use it, but I like it. I'll just
Okay, let's do rotate. So rotate is the property that will literally rotate your object.
Yeah.
And you can pass the degrees to like to how many degrees you want it to rotate. So for example, if I said 50, I'm not sure if you need to put degrees or just 50, but I think you need to put degrees. So
Yeah.
now if I hover over, you see, it is turning to like 50 degrees, right?
Mhm.
But how come that it's not, so it's turning like not in 2 seconds, but immediately? And that question goes to Gulnur.
I guess we need to put another property for it, another transition property, because we put
Mm-hmm. We
we
can,
need to mhm.
right? That's a really nice, very nice catch. So yeah, basically we need to make sure that this transition is applied both to background color and
Mhm.
to transform. So what we can do, there's 2 ways to handle it. We can say transform also for 2 seconds, right? So now if I hover over, wait, it's not 2 seconds, right? Transform 2 seconds. Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, there you go. So much nicer,
Mhm.
right? Again, if I put this transition, so just as for you guys to feel the difference, if I put this transition here, so you see how it's turning, when I hover, it's turning for 2 seconds, but if I remove the mouse, if I
Mhm.
stop hovering, it will immediately go to its own place, right? So
Yeah.
that looks more like a glitch than design, right? So that's the difference, like why we want to set it to like the main element, which is child, and not on hover effect, right? So again, we can either set transform here using a comma, or you can just say in general for all of the like effects that we're using, we're setting transition to 2 seconds. I think that will also work. So that in theory should work for all the effects. So let's check. Okay, good. You see?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So that's one of the transform effects. Is anybody familiar with any other transform effects?
Celia, what did you change last in your code to make it like rotate smoothly?
I did transition and then I removed the properties. So before it was just background color here.
Yeah.
I removed it. So this way you're telling your code that all of the changes, like all of the effects that I'm using on this element should transition for 2 seconds.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so right
So
now
you
this transition
you don't
effect,
need to specify, right? You just put the 2 seconds and it will be applied to both of the
Yeah.
effects, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the transition is the shorthand of the everything, right? So you can put everything there, like
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So basically, but if, for example, if there were effects that don't need this 2-second transition, so let's say I want color to change immediately, but I want it to rotate for 2 seconds, then of course we need to specify transition transform for 2 seconds, right? Transform. So now this effect will only work for transform, for rotating, right? But the background color will change immediately. So in this case, of course, you need to specify, right?
Mhm.
Because there are some effects that, for example, you want longer transition on, right? So then you would need to specify, so for example, transform for 2 seconds, but background color, you want, I don't know, 4 seconds, right? So in this case, of course, you need to be more specific, but in our case, see now the transformation of the color like is a bit slower, yeah? So in that case, of course, you will need to specify. But since we're okay with like everything being for 2 seconds only, so you can just leave 2 seconds and it will basically apply that to all of the effects that you're implementing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So now, cool. So anything else from Transform that you guys have used in your classes? Are you guys familiar with anything else? Oh. Transform. There's also scale. So basically what scale will do, it will enlarge or make your object smaller, I believe. So for example, if I say scale to 1, so 1 is your normal size. So I believe nothing will change. Yeah, the size is not changing, right? So like, you know how when we say like, so this is like a default normal size, right? So if I do, for example, 1.5, so that means that it will be larger by half, right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, so it will scale it, right? Which is, it looks really nice. You can always do 0.5, for example, so it will shrink the object, right? Yeah, so that's another property that you can use. There's also transform, translate. Okay, so I'm only familiar with these two. I'm not sure what translate Z does, but basically, translate X is gonna move your object on X axis, so which is like the horizontal axis. Do you guys remember that from was it algebra classes? So you have
Yeah.
like, yeah, you have like X axis and you have Y axis, right? So translate X will move your object to like horizontally to so if you want, for example, your object to move all the way until the end of the parent, I think you can say like 100%. So I believe this is going to move. It's not moving to 100% though. Is it or no? Hold on, let's get rid of the background color because I can see it clearly. No. Oh, interesting. I was thinking that it will move it to like all the way until, oh, you know what? I think 100% means that you're moving it like all the way to, so for example, our object is 100 pixels. So it's moving it to like another 100 pixels. I think that's what's happening. I wonder if we can do 200%.
100% full. Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Mhm.
even gonna work? Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, I thought that it means 100% of the parent, but apparently it means that like 200% of its own size. So basically it will move it by another like 100 pixels, but we wanted to move all the way until the end. So here we are. Okay, cool. And then translate Y, we'll move it all the way down, right? So if I wanted to move like here to this end of the square, how would I do it?
Translate X and Y.
Exactly.
Just-
So I'm gonna copy that. Oops. I'm gonna copy that and X. Okay, let's see. There we go. Nice. Any questions so far? No? All clear?
There is a shortcut for it. You can put it like X and Y together, or you should make it separately.
I'm not sure. Let's check. So we are looking at transform CSS. Let's see. So translate. Yeah, I guess not. Let's see what translate Z does. That's all 200. So it's like really obvious.
In the field, what can we apply these special effects to?
Recently I applied it to, so I was working on menu, and I didn't have Figma. So they just said, you know, the design, like they gave me like approximate design, and they said that it should be like really obvious that it's, you know, clickable and that it's interactive and blah, blah, blah. So I used this transform and scale, I believe, so that like it's, so on the UI, this menu is like a smaller menu over here, right? And it has like little items that you can click on that will be interactive. So when the user is hovering over these items, I made sure that they become of a darker color and also scale up a little bit, so the user can like click on them and see what's happening there. So this is like one of the use cases that where you would use something like that.
We're also gonna use the scale one of the Marat's projects. On one of his projects, bottom has a scale.
Which one? What did you do there?
I believe it was the one of his project in that in their web page. Like they have a lot of buttons there.
Nice.
They use the scale there.
That's nice. Yeah, scaling on buttons works really nice. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Or like you have, let's say, a little search icon, and you want to encourage users to like use it. So you can make that search icon scale up a little bit when they hover over, so they can, you know, type whatever they want to like look for. So yeah, this is like a really good indicator for the users to, you know, to use the tool. Yeah.
By the way, I say the Marat project, I meant by graduation project, sorry.
Okay,
It's
cool.
one of the graduation projects.
So yeah, so when you guys get to this project, you will know how to use it, how to use these effects.
And those effects are written out in the requirements, right? Or is it the front-end developers desire to add a touch?
So it really depends on your project and how precise they want you to be about the design. So for example, if it's user-facing project, right? If it's for the users, then yeah, they will probably give you like exact step-by-step instructions of how they want this even like smallest icon to look, and they will expect you to deliver exact same design. Yeah. However, the current project that I'm working on, they are not so picky about the design because it's an internal tool, like a management tool. So they don't spend too much time on Figma. They don't want to bother our designers with this because they're busy with our other project. So they don't want to overload them. So usually they will give me just some examples, like screenshots from maybe other parts of the UI. So they will say, okay, so we want it to look something like this. And then I just implement it. And sometimes I will add something from myself, like my own creative touch, which they appreciate. But it depends on the project. We had a guy, he was interviewing, I don't remember which company, it was like a really well-known one. And basically he said that his interview, like first stage of the interview was this like really crazy CSS challenge, because for them it was very important to, for their web developer to know CSS really well, because they focus on like very, pixel perfect design. So they set down like several developers who were interviewing for this position. They gave them this the design, and they just timed them on like whoever is gonna deliver faster and like more precise implementation, which is unusual. I would say usually it's not something that happens on the first stage of the interview. So it's rare. Usually in a technical interview, they care more about your JavaScript and React skills, not so much about CSS, I would say. They may they may like dedicate some part of the interview to CSS. But usually it's more theoretical rather than coding something. Yeah. So
But the reason I was asking it because I personally prefer like more minimalistic UI. Like I do not like the buttons popping at me, things like that. But but some people prefer overloaded with photos, with special
Yeah.
effects. So I still want to deliver, and that is why I don't want my personal preferences.
So yeah, it doesn't depend on your preferences that much, unfortunately. If they really care like about very like super interactive UI, they will give you the the Figma and all of your all of the like expectations that they have, and you will have to deliver, even if their buttons like rotate and jump. You will still have to deliver it.
That is actually good that if it is written out, then I can just follow the instructions and
Of course.
the
Yeah.
requirements. Yeah.
Azalea, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you put the scale on for example, it's like we have two buttons to like close to each other. When you
Right.
put the scale for one button, does it move his margin and paddings too with the bottom, or the margin or bottom's gonna stay like? Do you wanna what I'm saying? It's not visible, but is it gonna move the close bottom too? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And you're concerned that if you have like a line of buttons, it will affect each other. right?
Yes, I'm interested. Does it move his margin, also margin and paddings too? Is gonna be bigger when you put the cursor on it?
I
When you
think,
put the scale on a bottom?
I don't think it will affect the margin.
Mhm.
So the padding definitely will remain the same, right?
Okay.
But I'm not sure about the margin. So if you have like a lineup of buttons and they have a scale effect, it's possible that they will move each other around. Do you want to try that?
Well, yeah, yeah, if we have a time for it.
Sure, yeah, let's give it a go. So what you're saying is, let's say we have buttons.
I'm just wondering, like, which gonna, like, is gonna be the paddings or margins gonna go with it, like, move.
Right. So let's say, okay, so for the button, we want them to scale to, I don't know, let's say 1.3 something. And let's give them also some padding and some margin.
Yeah.
Let's do 5 pixels. Are they gonna, okay, let's make sure that they fit. Have you guys learned about min heights, min width and stuff like that?
What is it?
Min height, min width properties?
Oh yeah, we tried it for the responsive usually.
So what's the difference between width and min width? And that question goes to Jibek. Hi Jibek, welcome.
Hi. Sorry,
there.
I was like I'm really behind.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that you joined us today. We're discussing transitions and animations. So you're very welcome. And if there's, are you struggling with any homeworks or anything?
No, it's really hard with my schedule
Yeah,
but I will try my best starting from next week.
sure. Yeah, are you working full time as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard, I know.
Yeah.
Are you living in US or outside US?
US in Chicago.
Oh, nice. So the timing is somewhat convenient, right, of the classes?
Timing is yeah, the weekdays is a little bit late, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, it's good that you're joining extra classes. And if you're struggling with anything, like any specific topic, you can text me during the week and try to cover that during an extra class. Or if you're struggling with like a homework, specific homework, you can leave it, and on Saturday I can reserve like 30 minutes of time to go over like the project that you're struggling with. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course, yeah, and it's great having you with us. Please don't be discouraged. I know that it can be difficult, but try to use weekends to catch up on the classes that you missed. So at least you have an idea of what they're talking about. And, you know, and if you don't have time for homework, I mean, if you're struggling, like, should I do homework or should I watch the class? If I were you, I would watch the class, so that at least you have an idea. And then if you have time left on weekends, then I would do homework. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So now I'm gonna torture somebody else then. Janar?
Yes.
I forgot my question. Oh, what's the difference between width and min width?
Min width, I think it's the it's the smallest it can get.
Exactly, right? So what would be the use case for min width?
So if we have a smaller screen, like mobile screen, we don't want our elements get too small, so we set the min width for them to set at the minimum width.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
maximum.
Or like an image. If we don't want image to shrink too much, we will set min width so that it will not go lower than 300 pixels, for example, right?
Mhm.
So what's the use case for max width then? Why do we need it?
We don't want the element to get too big. So it's the
Exactly.
maximum it can get.
Exactly. So for example, users can be accessing your web page through like a larger screen, right? Not a standard screen, but
Mhm.
like a larger wide screen. So in this case, we don't want our image or any other element for that matter to be like too wide, right? But we use max width. Okay, very nice. Cool. So now, there we go. So, okay. So why are 3 buttons hovering at the same time?
And does it have the same class? Oh, because they're all buttons.
Because the hover effect right
Yeah,
now on the
it's applied
parent.
to all buttons.
So I want button on hover to transform. So let's see.
No, it doesn't affect.
That's good. So it is not really like affecting the buttons next to each other. So that's nice. Yeah. So these buttons, they give me like early 2000s vibes or like end of 1990s. I don't know if you guys old enough to remember.
Yeah.
I am, definitely.
Yay!
I
Okay.
still remember Dizilel Kat KG. I used to hang out there a lot.
Yeah, I remember those times. So these buttons, they're giving me these vibes from like 1990s. Oh, simple times. But
if
yes,
you want to move them, we use the transition property for that.
if you want to move them,
Yeah, like if I want to the effect to the padding, so to move the other one, we use the transition property for it, or
so when I hover over, you want other buttons to move?
yeah, I want to affect it to the paddings too, so the other is gonna be like move a little bit like to the still separate.
I see. I think in that case, we would have to change the actual size of the button. Maybe then that would probably affect the, so let's say, for example, our button, where is it? Okay, so in this case, for example, we want our margin to be 10 pixels. Okay, so then it would probably move the.
Right. Oh, okay. Now I get it. That's all I want. Got it.
Yeah, it's
Just
good
put
that.
on a hold. Just put on a hold. Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
It's good you guys are asking this kind of questions. This is, Saturday classes are here to discover different things, right? So yeah, whatever you're like struggling with, we can talk about it. Okay, should we have a break before we move on to animations?
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. Let's do 10 minutes then, and then we will talk about animations for the second half of the class. And for the third half, actually, I don't think it's correct to say third half because class can only have 2 halves, right? So for the second part, we will do animations. And for the third part, we're going to do mobile first approach. And hopefully we will have enough time to talk about everything. All right?
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
that's good.
See you guys in 10 minutes. Okay. Are you guys back with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes.
Mhm. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about animations. I'm gonna go back to our div with the class name child, was it? Child. Right, and let's get rid of the buttons. Okay, I think. Oh. Okay, here we are. So, one second. All right, so let's say we want to recreate that the child box moving around when we hover over the parent element, right? So then we would do parent hover child element, right? And now instead of using transform and translate properties, because that can only like give you, you know, some feeling of animation, right? So now we can use actual animation property. And as you can see, it already gives you like predefined stuff that you can use. So first one is animation name. So each animation effect should have a name. So for example, in our case, that would be box movement or something, right? Child box movement. And then duration of the animation. So in our case, that was like 2 seconds, right? So 2 seconds. We can set a delay on when the animation will start. I'm not sure about the timing function. We'll have to look it up. Iteration count, which is basically how many times, oh, it's actually showing on hover, like how many times that animation can be repeated, right? And the direction and fill mode, we'll have to look it up a bit later because I'm not sure what they do. So let's start with something simple. So our animation can be like box movement, right? And just like with classes, you need to make sure that if your animation name consists of like multiple words, you make sure that you differentiate them with like a hyphen. You don't separate them because otherwise it will think that it's something else. So duration, let's do 2 seconds. Let's get rid of this. We don't need a delay for now. Okay. Box movement, 2 seconds. For now, let's keep it that way. Okay. And now, basically, we're telling our animation property here that there is an animation called box movement. So how do we create it? We create it using keyframes. Have you guys used keyframes before? Anyone?
No, I have never used.
No.
Maybe, David, have you used animations before?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So this is something new. So the syntax is familiar, right? The syntax looks somewhat similar to what's media queries, right? In media queries, you use media and then you specify like the screen size that you're using it for. In this case, it's keyframes and then identifier is your animation name. So in this case, it's box movement. Okay. And with animations, you can either use like from and to properties, I believe. Was it from? 1 second. Let's double check. Animation. I believe there's like from and to property, which basically tells you, yeah, this one. Basically where the animation starts initially and how it ends. So for example, if we want our box to start from translate X at 0%, right? So it will start moving from like the very beginning to transform, translate X to, as we discovered before, like we're going to use 200%. So it moves like all the way to the end of the parent box, right? So let's try. In my mind, this is going to work. Oh, okay. Cool. So basically, what we are doing here is we're saying you should start in the beginning of the animation. The box should be where it is currently, right, at 0. And then it should move all the way until the end of the box, right? So those are like from and to properties, where the animation begins, where it finishes, right? But let's say we want the box to go like all the way until the end and then return to its initial position. So how do we do that? With keyframes, those two properties, they're kind of robust, right? So feel free to use them when it's convenient. However, you can also use like percentage. So at the very beginning, let's say it would be 0%, right? What should happen? Like where the box is supposed to be, right? And you can use any percentage you want. So in our case, for example, we can do 0% and then 50%, right? Like in the middle of animation where it's supposed to be, and then at 100%, which is very end of the animation. So at 0%, where do I expect my box to be, guys?
I guess.
Beginning.
Oh, sorry.
Gulnur?
In the start, in the beginning.
Yeah, just like here, right? Just like think of this as like from property, right? Okay. At 50%, where is my box supposed to be now? In the
In the
middle,
center.
in the center.
I mean, like in the middle.
Okay, let's try. So the middle, you mean like middle of the parent?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So it will be 200% here, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the last one, it will be again 0.
Exactly. Very nice. Okay. And then we want it at 0. Right? Let's try. There we go. You see? So let me go over this once again. Where our animation begins. It begins at the box, at its initial sort of, yes? Did someone have a question? No? Okay. So where was I? I was saying that in the very beginning of animation, we want our box to be in its initial position, which is 0, right? In the middle of animation, we want it to be all the way at the end of the parent component. That's why we're using translate 200%. So basically it goes all the way until the end of the parent, right? And when the animation is over, it's supposed to return to its initial position. That's why at 50%, we didn't say that it needs to be like halfway through the box, right? We want it to be all the way until all the way at the end of the box. And then when the animation is finished, we want it to return to initial position. Does that make sense, guys? Is that
Yeah.
Yep.
okay? Any
Yeah,
questions?
that's clear. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So that's why we are using three sort of timeline points in this case, right? 0%, 50%, and 100%. That's because we want our animation to go back to its initial position. We want our box to go back to its initial position when the animation is over. Okay? Cool. What if I wanted my box to hit all the corners? So I want it to start here, then go all the way to the right corner, bottom right corner, bottom left, and then go back to its initial position. How would I implement it? And that question goes to, let's see, Janar.
We wanted to go all the way around.
Yeah, we wanted to hit all the corners.
Okay, then I think we would need to have four like properties, like 0%, 25%, 50, 75, and 100.
Okay, so let's do 25, 50, and 75. Okay, cool. What happens at 25?
At 25, it reaches to 200%.
Mhm. So at 25, we want it all the way here already.
Yes. Mhm.
So we're gonna take that.
Transform, translate, yeah, to 100%. At 50%, we want 200. So it will be still, it will have the, it will consider the last position, or will it be considering the initial position? So we
Good
don't.
question. Good question.
Um,
It will, so when you're using transform property, it will consider it relatively to its initial position.
Okay, then at 50%, we will have to put two properties: transform, translate x 200, and transform, translate y 200.
Cool. Okay, so we can just add one more here. Translate y 200. Okay, so it goes all the way here.
Yeah. And at 75%, it should have the translate x at 0 and the translate y at 200.
Okay. Oops. X at 0.
X at 0, yeah. Y 200. And at 100%, 0. Both of them are 0.
Okay. I'm thinking, should we set translate y to 0? Let's do it just in case, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let's set it to 100 to 0. Okay, should we try?
Let's try.
Okay. There we go. You see?
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you guys have any questions of like why we did what we did here? This is somebody joined later on. 1 second. What was it? I done? You just joined, right? I done or Aidan?
Yes, yes. I joined 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Were you able to catch the beginning of animation here or no?
Not yet, but I did the screenshot and then I will catch up. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was late. Yeah.
No worries. I mean, we have a life, right? Sometimes it gets in the way. So I was just talking about, so in the beginning of the class, we were talking about transition properties. And
Mhm.
now we're talking about animation. So just before you joined, I guess we were talking about how we can use animation property in order for like our keyframes to work. So basically, when we use animation property, we are saying this box movement, we just created that name for this animation. So it can be anything, right?
Mhm.
So this box movement animation should last for 2 seconds. That's what we said. And now we are creating that box movement animation using keyframes. And this keyframes syntax is probably a little familiar for you guys from media queries. So basically keyframes is expecting you to list the name of the animation. In our case, that's box movement, right? And inside the keyframes, we can specify at which point in time our box, in our case, this child box, where is it supposed to be, right? So at the beginning of the animation, we want it to be at its initial position, right? At 25%, we want it to move all the way until the end of the box. And we're saying 200%. Why? Because our box is, parent box is 300 pixels and our child box is 100 pixels wide. So if we say 100%, it will move by 100 pixels. And since we need 100 more, that's why we said 200%. But we could also say just 200 pixels in this case, I guess. So yeah, basically we are just specifying like at each point in time of this animation, like we're specifying the location of a child box, right? That's why we're able to, now we have like 4 points and we're able to specify exactly which corner of the parent component, parent div, our child div is going to hit. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I have
Thank you.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, do you guys have any questions about how we were able to move our box around?
Yep, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the 50% we put the translate X 200 and translate Y. I understand translate Y 200%. I don't understand why we put the translate X 200 for 50%.
Sure, let me show you. Let's remove that, right? And let's try our animation. You see what's happening?
Oh, okay, so it's going that way.
Yeah,
And also for the 75%, can you explain the same thing why we put the
exactly.
transport 0?
So you mean why we need this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Maybe we don't need it. Yeah, we don't actually.
And okay.
So we
That's
were just trying to say
I'm
that.
a little bit confusing why we put a double at some
Mhm.
places.
Yeah, in this case, like when it hits this corner, we need the double because we want it all the way at the end of the box on both X and Y axis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good catch. We actually don't need it because we just want it all the way down. But if we don't specify X axis, it will just take it as a 0. So yeah, good catch, actually. Good. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So now, oh, and actually we can make it an infinite. Let's see. I think if I add infinite, it will just keep moving, right? And I think I can also specify like the number of times this animation will repeat itself. 1 second. So there's like a bunch of properties that we can experiment with. So yeah, infinite will basically make sure that it just keeps going. However, animation iteration count. Yeah, but how do I specify that? Do I just say 2? Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, I guess. Yeah, okay. So you can say infinite, which will make sure that your animation will be repeated as long as it's so as long as we're hovering over, right? Or you can specify the number of times. So we just said 2 times, so it's doing it twice. And if you don't specify anything, it will do the animation once. Okay?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Now I'm gonna move on to something a bit more exciting. But before I do that, do you guys actually need this code, or it's fine? Like, because I'm gonna do something similar, but on like a more interesting, it's not a project, but like UI piece. So do you guys need the child diff and a parent diff here still? Or you guys okay?
You mean just for the record, you can like send in a Slack, I guess, but no.
Yeah, I guess it's like very simple, right? So, and we're gonna repeat something like that anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I think we can just get rid of it. I think we still need a parent diff. Let me think. So what I was gonna do is something that we did with previous cohort. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna recreate this like little glowy animation. And I unfortunately I don't have a UI for it, but I will explain it as we go. Okay, so first what I want to do is I want to set this image like all the way as a background image for the whole body. Oh, can you guys excuse me for a minute? I'm having an urgent call. I'm so sorry. Just 1 second, okay? I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we want to use this banner image and we want it on the whole, well, not the body, but let's do like a parent. Let's do a div that says banner. Okay, and then for this banner, I want the background image to be this image. This one right here. All right. Now, again, how do I make sure that this image stretches like all the way on the viewport?
You need to get height.
Okay, to the banner, right?
Yeah.
Oh, let's give it the height. So what kind of height?
Mm.
I
Like
wanted
you
to,
want it on the whole page?
yeah, the whole page.
And we can do 100 vertical VH.
H, exactly. Cool. All right. Cool. So now, as you see, the image is a little different, and here it looks a little different. So how do I make sure that the image is like proportionally covering? Do you guys remember last time we spoke about like background properties?
Yeah, we can do container cover.
Was it background position? Background. Which one was that? Background size?
Image.
Cover. There we go. Cool.
Mm.
Where is that white space coming from?
We need to remove the margins in the body.
Okay. Oh. Have you guys been watching the news? I think it was yesterday that all the computers that are using Microsoft,
Windows.
yeah,
Okay,
Windows,
Microsoft.
Windows, yeah.
so who are on like Windows operating system, they just shut down.
Yeah, the flights were even cancelled.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It is.
So someone pushed untested code probably. So it wasn't Microsoft's fault actually. It was some kind of antivirus company. And antivirus companies, I guess they push their updates without users' permission. So I guess they just push their updates, and they pushed something on Friday that basically affected the whole operating system. Yeah, so they like the computers, they just went blank, which is crazy. And yeah, I guess somebody's getting fired. That's scary.
Most probably.
Hmm?
Most probably they are getting fired.
And probably not one person, because it's not only developers' fault, right? It's also like a tester and whoever approved this change and whoever let them release it on Friday, which is always a bad idea to do that on Friday. Because yeah, not everyone is around if you need a fix. So yeah, that's scary. I think that's like every developer's nightmare, to have that happen to them. Yeah, okay. So okay, so we have that image. Now inside that image, I want let's do another div. Let's give it the class name of message. Let's do message box. Okay, and let's just say like, welcome to Chicago. And okay, let's do it like H1. And a paragraph with some dummy text, just a little bit. Okay, cool. So now, okay, so where is that white space coming from?
The paragraph, the H1 has
Exactly.
margin.
So we can just do, okay, there we go. So now we want our message box to have background color of, let's do black and color white. Was it already white? No, I think it was black, right? Okay, and all right. So I want this box to be centered here. So how do I do that? And that question goes to Aidan. I want this message box to be centered here. Aidan, are you there? Okay, Sultan?
We can do it like we can give position for the banner. It will be parent class
Right.
relative. Yeah. Position relative.
Okay.
And for the message box, we can give absolute position.
Uh-huh. And then use top and bottom properties to center it. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, bottom.
I mean, we can do that, and we of course we can achieve like centering of the message box using the position properties. However, I really want to discourage you from overusing position, especially position absolute. I would say you only want to use it when it's absolutely necessary. So if there is any other way to achieve the same effect, you want to do that, because position absolute, like, I mean, positioning itself is very tricky, and there's a high chance you can mess up the rest of your UI. So you want to use positioning when it's like absolutely necessary. So for example, you want, you know how when you are, let's say, visiting some web page and there's like a call us, contact us button, that's just there in the corner. So in this case, yeah, you can use like position absolute. I guess that would be a good choice. Or for example, if you have like a nav bar on the top, right, and you want it to always be visible, so I guess in this case you could use positioning, but you really want to limit, especially with position absolute, like you want to limit the use of it as much as possible. Okay, so if there's no other way, you can use it. But in this case, just by using flex properties, you can do it easily, and it will also be responsive. So let's go with Flexbox. Okay. So Sultan, can you tell me how we can do it using Flexbox properties?
Flexbox, we can do like align items for the center. Yeah, I think this one you mean.
Yeah. But first, we want to do display flex.
Display flex, yeah.
Nice.
And justify content center. Align items center.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the easiest way to center something. Cool. Now let's give it some padding. A little more. Let's do 20 and 40. Okay, and let's make it a bit more transparent. That's a little too transparent. Let's do 5. Nothing changed. Okay. Is it readable enough? Should I make it darker?
Looks good.
Okay, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to give it a box shadow that will be kind of glowing when we're hovering over the welcome message, right? So let's give it this nice little box shadow. Box shadow. So do you guys remember box shadow properties? Who can help me with this one?
You have to
0.
yeah, pick.
Okay.
4 and 4 and 4.
Okay. 4, 4, 4. Yeah, looks good. Let's,
Put the color.
yeah, let's, last time we did it, we actually used, 1 second, we actually, oh,
I just don't like when it's on a shadow on a top. That's why don't usually always put the 0 on the first one.
okay, last time we actually did something like this color. So let's copy that. So instead of white, so here let's specify this color.
Put
Yeah,
it-
that's much nicer, right?
yeah. It's cool.
Cool. So, so now I want you guys to help me create an animation for this specific box shadow property. So let's say we wanted to like grow maybe a little bit and then shrink a little bit. So it looks like it's glowing, you know? Should we do that on hover? Yeah, let's do that on hover. Or maybe just, it should do just glow without even hover, like just on its own. So where do I even start? Let's remember.
What would you have to do? Sorry, I will be.
So we want this box shadow,
Mhm.
like grow a little bit. By the way, I feel like it's very solid. Do you guys, it's like, 1 second, let's do maybe 10 pixels. Oh no, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Which was the property that would make a shadow like a bit more spread around? Do you know what I mean?
Like opacity?
Oh,
Hmm?
Like opacity? Or
Um,
which one?
no, actually, the box shadow.
I mean, we can like put like 2 pixels and make the alpha like a little bit transparent. No. You mean?
Hold on. Which one of them is like, okay. So is it this one? Okay, so what if we, hold on, what if it's just 4 pixels, 4, 4, and 10? That's what I'm talking about. You see how it's like, it's not so persistent, like it doesn't look like too solid, you know? But let's make it a little larger. So let's do like 6, 6, and 10. That's better.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm.
It looks a bit more natural, if if that's, if I'm not sure if that's the good word to describe it, but yeah. Okay, so we want this box shadow to like grow and shrink infinitely. If you want, we can do it on hover, but I think it can just do it on its own, like whenever we're rendering this page, like it should grow and shrink, so it looks like an infinite animation.
Is it other way than hover to it? If I would do with the hover. I don't know other ways how to do it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, no problem, we can do it on hover, so.
No, I'm asking, is it the other way? Maybe we can do it, I don't know.
Hover. Okay. So what should happen on hover?
We'll put the box shadow a little bit like a different.
Right, but we want to use animation for it.
Yeah. So let's put the animation, I guess.
Okay, so it's helping us with
Name. Let's put
mhm.
box shadow name, I guess. I don't know.
Let's say banner glow, right? Duration,
One
I
second.
usually go for 2 seconds,
2 seconds.
and then we can adjust. Okay, so
That's it, I guess. For here.
infinite, yeah,
Okay.
because just keep like glowing sort of. Okay, cool. So how do we create the animation itself?
It was a key, what key something, key frame, yeah.
Right.
The name.
So in our case, that's banner glow. Okay.
Shadow box. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, and so put the property like how is so we have to put the more for the last pixels. Make
Right.
it 6 and 15, I guess.
So, okay, but when should happen? If you
Oh,
remember animations, like
yes.
timeline.
Translate x 0 or from. Yeah,
So we
from.
can either use from and to, or we can use percentage, right? So
Yeah.
for example, at 0%, something will happen, right? At 100%, something will happen. Okay, so what happens at 0%?
6 pixels, 6 pixels, 10 pixels.
So
Yeah, so it's the same.
Yes, seems
Right?
mhm.
What happens at 100%? And do we need two the sort of timestamps, or do we need more?
We just wanted to become bigger or become bigger and smaller again.
I think bigger and smaller would be nice.
let's put the 50%, I guess.
Okay, let's do 50. Okay, so what happens at 50%?
So we put the box shadow again and make the last one, I guess, I don't know how to grow it, like 15, maybe 16.
Okay, and let's do maybe like 8 and
Okay.
8, and then we'll see. We will adjust that.
And same like a 0%, put it back.
Okay, should we try? You see?
Don't we
It's
need to put the on 100% like the put it like if we want it back, the going back, the same like a 0. So we hope.
Like the
okay,
first
so
one.
same as initially, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's try again. Oh, that's much better.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a little subtle, like if you want, we can make it a bit larger, but it looks like it's glowing. Yeah,
Nice.
nice. Okay.
So we know it's bottom.
Yeah. All right. So that's the second part of our class. There was like a couple of more things that I wanted to do with animations that I think you guys will really enjoy. Okay, let me think about the third part of the class. Let's take a little break. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna change my plan for the rest of the class a little bit while you guys are on the break, because I don't think we have enough time for my second project. We'll see. All right, so let's take a 10-minute break then, and see you soon. Thank you. Okay. Are you guys back with me?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Are you guys having fun so far? Or is it becoming overwhelming, or I don't know.
No, it's fun.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope it's not too much. But I thought, it will be a good distraction for you since the whole week was like a lot of information. So I thought we will just do like fun little distraction. Okay, so I guess I also wanted to do like a mobile first project today, but I don't think we have like meaningful time for that. So we will just continue with animations because like there's a couple of more things that I wanted to talk to you about. And then next week we can do mobile first approach. And then because I have a project that is mobile first and that uses also different positions and also uses icons. So I wanted to do that today, but I guess there's no point of starting it because it's like once we start it, we want to go like I wanted to go all the way until the end of the project. So my suggestion is to continue with animations, and then next week, if you guys want to do like a mobile first project, make sure you tune in on Saturday. Yeah, it's not a large project. It's actually like when I'm explaining it, it sounds like a huge one, but it's not that large. It's just a simple UI, but it's still good to, to explore it. Plus it uses different icons and Flexbox properties and stuff like that. So I think it will be fun. Yeah. So that's our plan for the next week anyway. Today, let's just continue with animations because there was this really fun animation timeline property that I wanted you guys to be aware of. Okay, so let's say I have this banner div, right? Which is gonna cover a whole like visible part of my UI. So let's say I have like a bunch of articles after that. So let's do another div. I'm not sure if it even needs a class name, but let's do that. Let's do articles container. Right, inside which we're gonna have a bunch of articles with like H1. It says, I don't know, fun places to visit in Chicago. And then a paragraph with some dummy text. Okay, and I'm just gonna copy that a couple of times. Well, maybe just once. Oops. I think one. Up. Okay. And that's once again. Okay, so we have like a bunch of articles here, right? Now we can add this really fun scrolling animation to this image. So we can do that with animation timeline property. So for example, where is it? The banner, right? So the banner is our container with an image. So what we can do is we can add animation. And the name of that animation will be something like banner scroll animation. I'm not sure if we need a duration. Okay, I just usually do 2 seconds by default. Let's do that. Okay, and we can also add animation timeline. Animation, where is it? Animation timeline. Okay, and as far as I know, I mean, I'm familiar with two properties here. One is view, another one is scroll. So let's try scroll first because I'm not that familiar with view, and I guess we can just explore the other one on like W3 schools or something. So this, once you set animation timeline to scroll, it will basically follow the scrolling position of the user on this banner. Okay, so the animation will happen as the user will scroll, right? So what I see a lot of like web pages do is they use this. So in our case, that's banner scroll, right? So I'm gonna create another keyframe that's called banner scroll. And when the user is like scrolling out of this image, so let's say at 100%, right? So when we're like at the end of the scrolling position, we want it to, I don't know, to scale. Let's try scale. Okay, so, okay, let's try. So one, oh yeah, there it is. Well, that's too much. Let's do one. Okay, you see how like the image is sort of growing as you're scrolling? Let's add more text. Let's add more articles. So we can like really scroll out. Okay, and what we can do is we can add opacity 0 so that it doesn't cover the text as it's growing. You see? So this is fun. I really enjoy this one. I guess there's like a better way to do it. I'm not sure, but this is like as much as my animation skills go. To be honest, like that's like the top of what I can do here. But what I have also seen is I've seen people use, so this is scroll, right? So the animation will observe the scrolling position of the user, but we also use view. So if I change this to view, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not even sure that's a real property. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, okay. Wait, but it doesn't look that good. Okay, so let's go back to scroll, but I really want to explore view. Up. Animation timeline. Yeah, this one. So if you go to this web page, like here you can find all of the information about, you know, the property. So this one is the scroll that we used, right? But there's also view, and I think they have really nice, let's see if they're using it as an example somewhere. Nope, not here. Oh, look. Oh, it's different, but still, I think here they're using like a scroll position. So like on scroll, the box is rotating, right? So that's fine. So they're saying from 0 degrees to 360, right? So it's like making a full rotation. And they're not using scroll though. Do you see scroll anywhere? Oh, is that the same container?
Why? Scroll timeline.
So yeah, this is fun. Like if you guys want to experiment with it later. So this is one of the things that you can do. Setting an anonymous scroll progress timeline. Oh, okay. So here they're using scroll to track the timeline. Oh, I think that's the view one. So basically the view property will change your, in this case, box. You see how it's like when it's in full view, basically in the middle of your screen, it will be like in it's not transparent. It's like it's in normal state, right? But if you keep scrolling and it's disappearing from the view, so it will kind of, you see, it will behave a little differently as it's entering the view. That's fun. And this is how you can actually implement the, you know how on some web pages when you're scrolling through, you're able to see the progress bar of like how much of the article you have read. Yeah. So something like that you can implement, I guess, with an animation as well. You see? So let's see. Yeah, they're using view property here. So I guess what they're doing here is when the image is in full view, the opacity is 1, so basically it's not transparent, and the scale is normal, right? Normal size of the box. However, when it's not in the full view, the opacity is 0 and scale is also 0. Oh, okay, cool. So it's like disappearing, right? So it's at the beginning of the animation, when it's not in the full view, the box is transparent and also scaled down to 0. And then when it reaches the full view, it is opacity 1, so it's fully visible. And it reaches its like normal size, right? So the animation timeline is view. Animation name is appear, which they're using here. I'm not sure about these two properties. So let's see. Well, duration is 1 millisecond. That's fine. We're familiar with this one. Animation fill mode. I'm not sure what this means. Let's Google it. So if it's none, okay, forward, backward. I don't see the difference. Do you guys see the difference? I literally like I don't feel the difference at all. Well,
Like this one is coming back, the one backwards.
yeah. How about both? Like nothing is happening there. So I don't see the difference between forward, you see, and both. Well,
They change the color, maybe it's too, it's like a too like a thing in there. Like why the first one, oh wait, why is blue and blue? I'm confused, sorry.
me too. Too. I'm not sure if they mean like, do they want us to watch the color or the movement?
I don't know.
So animation fill mode. sets how a CSS animation applies styles to its target before and after its execution. I'm not sure I understand it. Sorry, guys. Apply values defined in the first relevant keyframe as soon as it's applied to the target. Retain this during animation delay period. The first relevant keyframe depends on a value. Let's try. You know what? Let's try with this box thingy. Okay, so let's insert a box here somewhere so we can scroll and see if that will even affect. So I don't know, let's insert like between the articles somewhere here. Let's give it a class name of view box, right? And the view box is gonna have let's give it a height of 100 pixels up and width of up. I don't know, 300. And the background color, let's do magenta because I use it everywhere I can. So this is the box. And if you just want to center something horizontally, you can just do margin auto. Are you guys familiar with margin auto? So when you just want to center like a div horizontally, you can use margin auto and it will basically take the available margin and divide it equally. So you don't have to, do the flexbox thing. It only works for horizontal centering, unfortunately. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add animation. So let's do a box. Let's say view box. Is it gonna, okay, let's do box animation. Up. 2 seconds. Okay, let's not do anything else for now. And we're gonna do animation time frame, timeline, animation, timeline, view, right? Okay, so now let's create that animation. Okay, so I think what they did is they used scale. Oh, they did like from, right? And to. So from was opacity 0 and scale 0, right? Up. Scale. Oh no, it was transform scale 0. And for 2, so when it's in full view, they did opacity 1, scale 1. Okay. So this is a good time to pray to all the CSS gods that it works. Oh yeah, cool. Oh wait, but how come it's only working when it's like coming to full view? But then you see it's not shrinking when it's disappearing. Shoot. Because I think theirs, where is it? Where's their box? Yeah, you see how? Oh no, theirs also does it only once. Oh, okay. But I wonder, okay, I wonder if we want the box to be fully visible, but then also disappear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we need to make like 3 of them.
Maybe I put the 0%, 50% in 100%.
Yeah.
Let's try. Yeah, because I'm really curious. So 0%. So at 0%, okay, so at 0%, we want
The same
this,
thing.
Copy. Mm-hmm.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At 50%, we want full
Mhm.
view. And at 100%, we want, again,
Mhm.
it's- yeah, I'm really suspicious because I think it's not gonna have the effect that we're expecting, but let's see. Well,
Or we can put the more like, you know, the 4 of them, like 25% or something like that, and like give it like a, how to say,
Bigger size.
yeah, a little bit and a little bit, like, you know, like
Feature.
1 point, yeah, to like 0.5, and then
so here we want 0.5 and 0.5.
yeah, and there is supposed to be 25%. I will.
And at 75, we want it like normal, right? Normal size. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Might be put also the, oh my God, 25%, like before the 50%, you know, like we add the 25 and put there like 0.5 on yeah, 0.5 here, and the 50% put the 1,
Hmm.
and in 75 put the 0.5 again, like this.
Oh, I see. Okay, let's try. Yeah, I'm very curious about this now. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Fingers crossed, guys. Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah.
Look. Yeah, that's nice. I feel like it's a bit more, it's like twitching, you know, but yeah, it's working as we wanted.
So
Nice.
to make it
Yeah.
like a perfect, to put the 15 and 10% till
Yeah,
the
we need like 15%, blah blah blah. So like be
It's
more
to make it
specific,
perfect.
I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it's now like I think it's much nicer now. Yeah, cool. But when it's fast, it's like really fast. You can't even see it. But if you're like scrolling slowly, very nice. Good job, guys. Yeah, cool.
I've been
Any
I've
Hmm?
been watching the one thing, if you don't mind, I will show you, just sent
Sure.
in a chat. I'm just wondering how they made it. I've been inspecting it like whole day. There is a lot of transition there. If you don't mind, like just see that, like how
Sure.
they made it, because it looks like a, did you get in a chat like a video chat?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
website I sent in. Like if you scroll, you're gonna see how see the background, how it stays on a space, like why you scrolling not going up. You just stay on his place.
What do you mean?
Mm,
Oh,
See that?
yeah.
yeah.
It looks really good, like cool, and I've been like inspected whole day, and it's a lot of transition there. So I've been like, oh my God, it's really hard to make it. Also, in the second page too, is going. If you see the other thing, is also going the.
Oh, so this thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's, I guess they put a lot of Z index there, so it's going back.
Yeah, that's really cool. Let's see.
They made like a transition overflow, something like that. Like, it's a lot of stuff there. If you go to CSS, you're gonna see. Yeah, see, you can before like background var, overlay transitions.
Yeah. Wow,
That's
that's a lot.
so I've been like, oh no, it's not for me. It's too hard for me.
Yeah. Wow.
That looks cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm thinking like they have a background image, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as we
So is it possible to make the background image to make fixed or sticky and then put the Z index like for the second page? What do you think? Is gonna work or no? Or
uh,
make it easy,
it can theoretically. I'm not sure if this would be the best approach, but
Yeah.
theoretically, yeah, it would work. But like if this was your task, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're implementing this UI. If this was your task,
Okay.
like just this part alone would be a separate ticket to implement this scrolling thing,
Just for one like developer, right? To make
Yeah.
that. Oh my.
Yeah. So
I
this,
think it's
like,
really hard to do it.
yeah, because you also have to consider, different screen sizes.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to consider like how it's gonna behave. For example, you see, it doesn't work the same way when
Yeah.
it's just
All
uh,
right. Look.
mobile.
Oh, here they cheating.
Well, maybe they thought it doesn't make sense.
No, I think the developers is spend a lot of time to make for the full screen, and he said that's not for me to make it.
Yeah, I would probably have like a meltdown, like a mental breakdown too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's a lot to consider here. I'm thinking, I wonder if there are like libraries to make this thing easier.
Framework, right?
It's quite possible that there's some kind of library. I
Might
don't
be.
know. Because like recently, so like next week, I will work on a task. So basically, the task is about the nav bar. So imagine you have a nav bar with like a bunch of items, right?
Yeah.
And we want this nav bar to be customized so like each user can customize nav bar for themselves. So what we want to do is we want for them to be able to just drag and drop items, so they customize, because usually, for example, if the user is, let's say, in a specific, let's say, account management, so they only use like 3-4 tabs, and they want these tabs to be on top for them because it's more convenient, right? Or if the user is a manager for some other part of of our, let's say, like they're in hotel management, so they want only like hotel related stuff on top. They don't care about the rest, right? They use the rest of the nav bar items once in like 4 months, but they use their hotel related stuff every day, like 100 times per day, right? So we want the nav bar to be customizable so they can like drag and drop items. And if someone moves from like hotel management to account management, we want them to be able to customize their nav bar as well, right?
Okay.
So when I first heard like that we're gonna do drag and drop and it will be my task, I'm like, okay, I'm screwed, because like how much time is that gonna take,
Yeah.
And then I started digging, and then I found a really nice React library. I think it's called React DND. So DND stands for drag and drop. I checked it out, and it really looks like it's easy to implement. I'm not sure because everything looks easy in the beginning, right? And then once you start working, it's like a whole thing. But yeah, I'm thinking that, so I suggested to use it, and they agreed. And I'm gonna give it a go. Like I will try it next week, so I will let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Good luck.
But yeah, like for this kind of like more, I mean, this one is probably not that complex if you know CSS well. I don't know CSS well, I'll be honest with you. So to me, it would be quite, quite difficult probably to do. But for like a lot of complex UI stuff, you usually have some kind of library. And if your tech lead is okay with you using a library, most of the time they're okay. So then you will agree and with the tech lead, and you will use it. Sometimes they want custom implementation just because they don't want to be dependent on third-party libraries. But usually it's websites like, I don't know, like Amazon. They don't want third-party libraries, so they usually want like everything, well, most of the things to be implemented from scratch. So for example, you will not see Amazon using Bootstrap probably, right? If anything is wrong with Bootstrap, imagine Amazon's webpage to be down for like an hour. They would lose millions in sales, right? So most probably Amazon doesn't use any like external CSS libraries that would break their stuff. I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that. And in our case, like we are using libraries to speed up the development process. And we're not concerned that much about libraries crashing, because I mean, we're using quite like stable, well-known, well-supported libraries. So the chances of them crashing are very low still. So yeah, so that's why we're using like this drag and drop React DND library. And yeah, I will let you know.
You also have to check if you use the framework. I understand, like you have to check it's not gonna broke everything, because
Yeah.
like yesterday I made the one project. I made the already like a half, and then I get lazy, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna copy paste the bootstrap, like some like the cards.
Uh-huh.
And then I just connect the bootstrap, and it just break whole flex, like the display flex you already put in your CSS, and it break everything. Like so,
Oh.
if you put a boot connect to your HTML, your like display flex on your CSS you've been doing that before, like in the past, it's not gonna work. It's gonna break all the way back.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that.
So I decided, if you make the clean CSS, don't use the bootstrap. If you're doing the bootstrap, use the bootstrap. So
That's very interesting. I didn't know Bootstrap can break your Flexbox properties.
yeah.
Like first time I'm hearing about it.
And
Interesting.
I asked the Mario too, and he like they prove it. He said, yeah, don't do it. Like half
Wow.
and half.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Are you guys using Bootstrap in class already?
Not yet.
Not yet, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
don't worry.
tried it.
Yeah, you will have like a separate Bootstrap class, so don't worry. Yeah, wow. Well, I'm really glad that you guys are learning new stuff and just also being super proactive and learning extra stuff. That's always helpful. Also, if you guys like, let's say you're covering a new topic, like for example, responsive UI, which you had this week, right? If you feel like you didn't understand the topic, try to find an article that will help you understand it better, because sometimes just because like every instructor has their own teaching style, I would say, right? And sometimes like on some topic, that style doesn't really help you understand the new topic. So you just, go and do your research, read a couple of articles. And, the trick is the more resources you have to learn a new topic, the better you will understand it, because it's like a puzzle. Instructor will give you one perspective, right? The article will give you like another perspective. And if you watch, I don't know, some kind of like YouTube video about it, it can give you like a totally different perspective. So all of that will help to build, the whole picture. So if you have time, I would highly encourage you to read articles. Also, MDN documentation is really good. W3 Schools always like a go-to resource. And also, I feel like W3 Schools explains things on, I would say, like on a bit of a simpler level. So if you're like starting to learn something, go to W3 Schools first, read the information there, and then after that you can go to MDN. Because I feel like MDN is a bit on like a different level. Their like documentation is a bit different. So first, like try to get a general idea on W3 Schools and then move on to MDN. Also, there is one more resource that I really liked. Let me see if I can. Oh gosh, I cannot remember the name now. Oh, I think it's called JavaScript info. Yeah, that's the one. But I think they don't limit themselves with JavaScript only. They also have, or maybe not. 1 second, let me see.
There was a name, Ninja Code. I have to check it.
Mhm.
Ninja Code.
Yeah, it's also one of the resources, but I wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, they do have, you see? So I really like this resource. I'm gonna share it with you guys. I will send
Okay.
it in the chat 1 second. So I feel like this one, they really explain it, in like simple terms, but also they provide, sometimes they have like really good examples, and sometimes they have like quiz questions at the end of the article. So like, yeah, I would encourage you to also explore this one. And they also have like a bunch of related articles you can like you can just keep going and keep reading. It's really nice. Yeah, so that's just, I mean, everyone has their own favorite resource. I would say that, something fits me, but may not fit your preferences. But just, just for a comparison, you can, and especially when you guys will start JavaScript, which will happen sooner than you think. It's like 2 weeks away, seems like a lot of time, but it will fly. So especially when you guys start JavaScript, this is a really good resource. And they also have a Russian version if it's easier for you guys to understand in Russian. So yeah, check it out, okay?
Yep.
What else? Yeah, sometimes YouTube videos help, but I realize that you guys may not have as much time because YouTube tutorials can be also like very long. So you have a 3-hour class that you need to rewatch. And also like if you watch a YouTube video, which is like 1.5 hours, it can be a little too much. So sometimes it's just easier to read an article because that will take you like 20 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Okay, so for the next week, we are gonna practice mobile first approach. We're gonna practice positioning. And if there is like anything specific, let's see. You guys, this week you covered forms, responsive UI, a little bit introduction to GitHub, right? Good. Next week you guys have grid, Flexbox and read. Okay, so next week, it's not gonna be like too many new topics from what I can see. It's more like practice, so that's good. We'll see. So my plan is to do mobile first, but I may alter it a little bit. I will see. Like I always try to check what's happening in regular classes before I plan something. So we will see. But that's like tentatively, that's what we're gonna do. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I'm really happy to see you and really happy to see the progress you've made during this week. Good job, everyone. Keep up the great work, and make sure that you also, like, if you're struggling with homework, just reach out to your classmates, okay, and do something together. You can do like larger projects together outside of class if you have time for it. Like, just reach out to your classmates, okay? It's very important that you guys help each other and stick together, because for the next 6 months, you're gonna spend as much time with each other as you do with probably your own family. So this is, this is a good time to make friends. This is a good time to build this, supportive environment, because you're gonna go through this whole, like, your own personal transformation journey together with your classmates. Like, I'm still friends with the guys from my cohort. And we've been supporting each other through, thick and thin. So it's, it's really good to have that meaningful relationship within the cohort, because it's going to be not the easiest journey that you take. Yeah, so it's good to support each other. Okay. So
Yep.
make sure you really get to know each other and help each other and support. Okay.
Asila, I wanted to ask you,
Uh-huh.
like which months, like during the 6 months, was like the toughest one, the hardest one? Like I just want to plan some of my vacations, some days maybe I could take some extra, I don't know, like
Uh-huh.
so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, good question. So if you have the opportunity to take some time off work to like study, I would do it somewhere on like 2nd or 3rd week of JavaScript.
Mm.
And maybe like 2nd or 3rd week of React. Because so let me tell you, JavaScript is really, really interesting, but it does require you to practice a lot, especially when you guys start JavaScript. We have a whole section dedicated to algorithms. We have, I don't know, around 200 or so of them on our portal, which you will have to solve all of them. But most of them are quite easy, so like don't be intimidated by the number. But the point is, it's very important to practice them, because if you want to understand JavaScript and you want to be able to build the logic, you really have to practice those algorithm skills. And you really need to do, like, you need to solve all of those questions in the portal. So I would encourage you, like, if you have opportunity to take some time off, that's when I would do it. And in order to solve those algorithm questions and like spend all the time you can to solve them. And that's the first like milestone for you guys. Second one would be when we start React, but not in the very beginning, because we're gonna start with like really basic stuff, but maybe like 2nd or 3rd week, maybe like probably 3rd week, yeah. Because okay, so once we start React, it's not like we're done with JavaScript, right? Because it's still continuation of JavaScript, but in a different framework. So you're gonna wanna have to spend some time to just get used to the syntax, get used to the logic of React. The way we do things is a little different in React. So you're gonna you're gonna want to practice more of like the projects that we do in class. So that's, I think that's when I would take some time off. And maybe when we start interview preparation process, because that period of time is very stressful. People get incrementally more stressed as we get to like 6 months of the bootcamp because they understand that they need to go to the market soon and they feel intimidated, which is normal, totally fine. So you might want to take some time off, like your work, to just prepare for the market. But again, like during the 6 months, you guys will start internship projects and you will not have regular classes like on daily basis. So
Mhm.
maybe use that time, you know, to prepare. So yeah, you can maybe it will not be like too necessary to take some time off work then. Yeah, but definitely like somewhere in 3rd week of JavaScript and somewhere in like 3rd week of React, I would love to take some a couple of days off to practice. That would be nice.
Got it, thank you. But for the extra classes, like the second month, we still have the extra classes, right?
Of
Or
course,
is
of
it another?
course.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And during Saturday classes, when we start JavaScript, we will practice a lot. We will practice algorithm questions. We will practice some projects, like larger projects, especially when we move on to React. Like I have a really nice e-commerce project that will help you practice like a lot of stuff. So I will be here definitely all the way until your internship starts, because when your internship starts, we usually cancel extra classes because you want to focus more on internship and market preparation. But I will definitely be here for another like 4 or 5 months or so. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do together, and you guys are not getting rid of me anytime soon. Don't worry. I'm gonna be here annoying you with my questions and
No, please stay with us.
torturing you guys for the
At
next
that time, it's
month.
gonna be much more questions. So when we're gonna
Yeah, especially when we start JavaScript, you guys will need more support, definitely. So, and when it comes to JavaScript, like I really enjoy JavaScript classes, just because there's like more logic, more common sense involved, I would say.
I've been
Less.
enjoying it too, but till I meet the loop, it was like he's so confused. Like
Yeah.
don't understand anything about loop. Like it was good, but
Yeah, I know. It can be intimidating in the beginning. So yeah, I'll be here, guys. You have my full support. And I've been teaching in several cohorts. So I identified the most like problematic topics in JavaScript, because usually HTML, CSS are like a breeze. So there's really like, I mean, I do projects and stuff. I do like extra stuff like animations for you guys to, you know, to like broaden a little bit the horizon. But when it comes to JavaScript, like I know the pain points. So I really, when we have extra classes, I really try to focus on those. Yeah, and hopefully that will also be somewhat helpful, you know, for you to make your journey a little less painful in the beginning, especially. So yeah, I mean, I'm here. If you feel overwhelmed, if you need like any advice, just reach out. I try to check Slack. Well, I'm here every Saturday, obviously, but usually like sometime in the middle of the week, I also try to check in. So yeah, if you need anything, just reach out, okay?
yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
The class. Thank you.
So, thank you for joining. Thank you for spending your Saturday with me, being nerdy. And I will see you next week. I hope you guys have a very nice week ahead of you. Okay?
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
The last question. In
Yeah.
every week, it will be in the same time, yeah? The
What's
class.
that?
Okay. Thank you.
What is it? Sorry, I couldn't hear you well.
I'm asking every week the class, it will be the same time, yeah?
Yes, unless, yeah, it's the same. Sometime in October, I think you guys are switching to like daylight saving time. But yeah, the class time for you will still remain the same. So it will just change for me, but for you, it will be the same. Don't worry. Yeah, so it's same time every Saturday.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. See ya.
Thank you. I see you for class. Thank
Sure.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
week. Bye bye.